The time makes you bolder when children get older. I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Oh, and now oh, climbing mountain and turn around. And if you see my reflection in the snow covered hills, where the landslide down. And if you see my reflection in the snow covered hills, when the landslide brings down. Oh, landslide bring it down.
She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus in America too. She's a good girl, crazy about Elvis, loves horses and her boyfriend too. It's a long day living in Reseda. There's a freeway running through the yard. And I'm a bad.
Right. I didn't want to get that one started up. Dang it. How's it going?
You wave.
Yeah. I know we're going to talk about some good stuff, Sadie. It's going to be good.
You're gonna stay and listen? Or you're gonna go back to your movie?
I think we're more interesting than your movie. Do you believe that?
I don't know. It's The Little Mermaid.
Oh, Little Mermaid. I'll try to get some good herbals for Little Mermaids and such. I don't know what mermaids eat. Probably seaweed. I think seaweed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. They sometimes need the fermented ones though. So just
It's better for their gut.
that's right. Better for the and now you know why my kids are weird. That's how that's right. All right, cool. So what is going on? How's Amy today?
Oh, just fabulous.
Good, good. Yeah, we were are successful. Amy knows this. We do this service club event for our town. Somehow I became the DJ of it. So that was like, do I want to do this tonight for the amount of talking I did yesterday? But it's crazy. You wouldn't think naming 300 tickets out of a barrel would be that big a deal.
You had to do that this year?
Yeah, this is year two. This is my second.
Wow.
I'm in I'm in charge. My service club guys are getting old, and I did a good job last time. So I just did it, and we had a really good time.
Wow.
Any we picked was fantastic, by the way. If you ever need anything, wow, that was not expected out of that little used to be a bar, like a really it beautiful. It's gorgeous inside. Like they did a good job.
Cool. Yeah, what was that? That was the Gangplank forever ago.
Yep, it was a gangplank when me and you do. We just not a lot of. I wouldn't see you or me in there typically.
No.
Not a thing. It's a little darker kind of bar most of the time. When I'd go in there, it was pretty cool though. It was the same dudes, like that kind of old, real old, real old guys that were there all the time, and now it's a wedding venue with outdoors and all this other good stuff. So that was really good. So anybody in Battle Creek, Vale Street wedding venue, it's shocking. You'll drive by it 3 times and go, no, that can't be that nice inside. Go check it out. Beautiful. So that worked out pretty good. So tonight is the new add-on for this year, right? So you weren't here for the first one, but what we're doing is a chiropractic principle, and then we go into our nutrition, right? Movement, and then mental, right? So our mental health. So tonight is kind of like that. It's pretty fun because it connects a lot. There's a reason I asked. Amy follows a guy that is really good. It's somebody I had not followed, but I started listening even a little bit today. And so hopefully I got a couple things. His teaching is part of what we're going to go into a little bit today. So the first thing is the stuff we found. Amy, have you ever heard of regenerative farming?
No.
Oh, I didn't either until today. So today, regenerative farming is about keeping all the stuff in the soil itself, right? So they try to like build up that topsoil. It makes sense. We kind of do it already around here, like gardens when you throw your stuff back on it and let it kind of do. Some people do leaves, some people do other things and just pile it on there to kind of build up that topsoil underneath instead of putting a bunch of fertilizers on and all those kind of things. But I thought this was interesting in the article. I didn't get a total chance, but it's about building up almost the fungi, the mushrooms in there. So sometimes that's a part of it. But one out of this article on Dr. Mercola is the 5 basic principles for building a healthy soil ecosystem is not disturbing the soil microbiome. Huh. Isn't that fascinating? Protecting the soil surface with cover crops, diversification, maintaining living roots in the ground as long as possible, and then integrating livestock and insects. So that's kind of the idea behind regenerative, which is kind of cool. So, like, you'd have chickens close to your garden and then leave the root vegetables in the ground like over winter time, which is actually what we plan on doing. Anything you can keep in the ground, you do because you can get them, which is fascinating, especially as mild as our winter was. You could have
Yeah.
had potatoes, you could add things in the ground that you could actually grab. So that's pretty cool as you garden. Are you guys doing a garden this year? Or
Yeah, we did one last year too. It was just a lot smaller.
yeah, you just kind of keep growing it.
Yeah.
Dr. Rachel's going nuts, so we're gonna have something going here. We're gonna get our herb thing going, and it should be pretty cool.
Good. When she overbuys, I always get her leftover plants, so that's great for me.
I know. Yeah, you're gonna get some herbs. Oh, because we're experimenting with some of these herbs that we know how to grow,
Yeah.
and because now we know the benefits of them,
Yeah.
right? Like I think she said motherwort is one, and it's exploding. So she better she kept saying, like, you better have some use for these. So some of these seeds, you're like, oh crap, I don't
Yeah.
want to waste, but if we have other places, we can just like, here we go. And that's where, like as we go, we can make our own houses part of our own health all the time. So that's what the whole idea is. All right. So then here's a good one that headaches could be from an allergic reaction. And in fact, they're finding that histamine, which is a lot of your allergic reaction stuff, uh, things if you're allergic to foods or anything, you get this histamine reaction. Kind of think of if you saw it on your skin, it's a bug bite, and why that thing puffs up, that's a histamine reaction. So that allergies could be the number one cause of the headaches, which is fascinating. So just remember that. It makes sense in my world because if somebody eats bad or they're gluten intolerant, usually one of the signs is headaches. But just remember that and maybe detox yourself if you're having chronic headaches and see what that does. So like detoxing yourself by taking out these things that you could be allergic to. And then the last one before we start, skin health tips, because you need to get your skin health tips from me. How it goes. So having one avocado a day can do it. There's this thing called, you're gonna have to look it up because I don't know anything about this one. Colloidal oatmeal baths. That's a thing. So that's kind of cool. So I'm gonna have to do some research on that. That's why I love doing this because, like, once I say this, I'll have 4 patients go, "This is so cool," and then they'll actually research it, and then we
Yeah.
can. So coconut oil, which I do that one. Getting it a good coconut oil is a good thing for your skin. and one we've talked about as an herb that's super valuable for even outdoor skin when like Sadie goes and scratches or something outside. Calendula is a good herb, usually in a lot of different creams already created, but it has some good like kind of antimicrobials and great for your skin as well. So those are some four I found. And so hopefully tonight will make some sense. I hope so. That's what my hope is. So I'm gonna do this. Let's see. Where should I start? Let's start. So I don't have a lot of PowerPoints, but I want to get into what the chiropractic principle is. So you're gonna let me hang on before I do the share thing. All right. Let's get rid of that. This. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. There we go. And then when I share it, it'll make more sense. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to here. And then tools. View slideshow. Okay. All right. So tonight we're going to talk about principle number 2. So there's 33 of these that we're going to go through, and each one kind of builds on itself. So we're going to have to go back a little bit and go over principle number 1 a little bit, touch on that. And then once we do that, then this will make a little more sense. So this is chiropractic principle number 2. It actually has a title. This is all that it is. It's called the chiropractic meaning of life. And the chiropractic meaning of life is that there's the expression of this intelligence, which is universal intelligence. We went through that last time. Through matter is the chiropractic meaning of life. So let me read you. I don't know if I put that in. I think I did. Let me go to the next one. So the expression of the intelligence, this universal intelligence that we'll talk about in a minute, through matter is the chiropractic meaning of life. Okay, so that means we have to go back. So why is this idea important to you? We're going to talk about it. So the major premise, if you missed that show, the major premise, so that's principle number 1, is called the major premise. It is a universal intelligence is in all matter and continually gives to it all its properties and actions, thus maintaining it in existence. So what chiropractic believes and knows is that our universe has an intelligence behind it. There's going to be 2 different intelligences that we're going to talk about throughout the 33 principles. This is the first one. So this one you have to think about in terms of almost, in my head, I always think of the laws of physics when you're talking about universal intelligence. Innate intelligence is going to be something different. Okay. So universal intelligence is kind of inherently the laws of physics. Okay. So, but this universal intelligence goes through all the matter, and that is allowing the matter to exist. It's a little philosophical, a little crazy, but we're going to go through that part because I am a nerd and I love this stuff. Okay. Okay, so you got to think in terms of this. So what it says is that we have an intelligence that works through our matter. Okay, so this works through our matter. If we are built the way we are based on the universal intelligence of gravity. Why do we have gravity? So that we don't float off this planet and and are able to function on this planet. There's reasons behind all of those things. So when you have these universal, what they call universal forces, and this intelligence of the world that create these different things. So when you think of universal intelligences throughout are things, it's we're going to talk a lot about the innate intelligence piece, so just go there with it. But when you're talking about, like, let's say a heartbeat, right? Our matter is designed to push blood up to our brain against gravity, if that makes sense. So there is this intelligence within us that allows us to continually express that. And once we understand, the biggest thing about this stuff is understanding that it's there. And it's important to know that we are built and designed like that, because then the next parts come into play. So here's the question. Without perfect matter, so you have to have your matter is perfect. How can we expect the universal intelligence to be expressed perfectly through that matter? And that's where that whole thing comes from. Remember, this was written over 100 years ago, right? In a book, so that is pretty profound from, back then. Basically, it's saying there's a consciousness to all of us. And with that, our job is to get this matter as close to perfect as we can so it can express all these things. So here's a couple examples so we don't go down the philosophical rabbit hole and, that kind of thing. So if I walk improperly because I hurt my ankle when I was 6 years old, how can am I going to adapt to the universal force of gravity in a perfect manner? Does that make sense? So if I'm 5, I change the way I walk, right? And now, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Is it doable? Yes, right? So your body will adapt around the imperfect. And that's a big important piece to understand why, especially in children, why chiropractors are so wanting to make sure every part of that kid, regardless of pain, right, or function, is getting checked and making sure we can get them as close to perfect matter as we possibly can. All right. So that's that. Another example, if I eat things that are not food for the body, how can the universal intelligence give you perfect digestion? Does that make sense? If we're not going to eat things that are not food, right, then that creates our matter is going to struggle and it can't be perfect. So that when you start thinking this way, it really, really helps. And tonight is really just about getting your mindset right. So when you make decisions throughout your day, you understand why you're doing that and why you're spending time improving these little things. And we'll go through that a little bit too. Here's the last example, and it's all the thoughts, toxins, trauma, right? If I think of stressful thoughts when there is no stress, how can my body have the proper intelligent reaction to that stress? If there's no stress, but we've created it, right? We've created a stressful situation. It's in a sense in a different plane. We, like you're saying, all right, my this week of work, oh, my daughter's going through it right now. She was like, oh my gosh, this week is going to be so busy. I know. I go, but when you cause it from that moment, all you can do is each piece, right? So don't stress your body out, or else you get a head cold, right? Because of those kind of things, because it has to react to those stresses. One that really messes with me holistically now is kids playing video games. So kids playing video games, especially as realistic as they are currently, their heart rate actually goes up to a like in a bad dire situation. So if you're a shooter game where the kids in a wartime setting, those are causing like high stress environments, and that high stress environment, if they're just sitting on their butt, is a problem. So like all of a sudden their body doesn't know what to do with all that different things, which makes their body not as good with the stress of that situation. All right. There's that. Does that make sense, Amy? We don't have very many of these, so don't worry about it too much. Are we good there?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. All right. So the only 1% thing that we're going to talk about tonight, there is only one thing, one piece of homework that we have to do, and that is to understand as much as humanly possible about the matter that we need to keep good. We need to tend our garden. And for us, it's understanding the matter that we have currently. Okay. So it's a lifelong study. It's kind of cool. Like once we, like the people that I've seen, um, the amount of patience, the amount of people they actually go into understanding, their human anatomy better, their physiology better. It's just crazy how your informed decisions change. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit tonight as far as that goes. So I got a few little videos. So I'm going to go to that because this is it, I think. Let me see. Exit this. Okay. So let me go to. I got to figure this out again. Okay. Nope. That's not it. Move out of the way. Man. The only thing I don't like is I can't get to this thing. Okay. All right. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Okay. Need to move that. All right. Let's go to. We're going to start with this one, actually. So I got him muted. Stop. Sorry. Okay. So this is Amy's boy. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. There is some fantastic stuff. This is one of the videos I pulled out just to kind of watch. This is like a 3-minute video. It won't be too bad.
Nervous system as the automatic nervous system. And I've been saying for years that autonomic is synonymous with automatic. And it's that part of our systems, part of our nervous system that functions behind the scenes of our awareness. And it regulates body temperature and hormones and blood supply and blood sugar levels. And it happens without any of our conscious mind. So in the autonomic nervous system, there are 2 branches. So one is the sympathetic nervous system, and its job is for protection from threats and dangers in our outer environment. And think of the sympathetic nervous system as the gas pedal. And when there's a danger to the gross anatomy of the body by something in our outer world that we can perceive with our senses, this system is switched on automatically. And once it turns on, there's a host of physiological functions that begin to happen automatically. And when that occurs, we're mobilizing all of the body's energy, all of the body's resources for that threat or that danger to deal with it. And when it's switched on, we don't go half in, we go all the way in, because we have to make sure that the body is going to survive in a threat or a danger in the outer environment. And when there's a release of all those adrenal hormones, we're tapping the body's resources. We're mobilizing all of its energy, and pupils dilate, salivary juices shut off, respiratory rate increases, heart rate increases, blood is sent to the extremities, glucose is mobilized, the immune system dials up and then it dials down. And all of these systems switching on and turning on is able to allow the body to adapt to some threat in the outer world. And that is the gas pedal. And the sympathetic nervous system, or the fight or flight nervous system, causes us to really do just a few things: to run from the danger, to fight and stay, or to freeze and hide. And those are the primary choices that we have created in evolution. And so when the sympathetic nervous system is switched on, and as we've been saying for a very long time, the short-term effect of the hormones of stress, the body can adapt and return back to balance, and it switches on the other nervous system, that branch of the autonomic nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system. And think of that nervous system as the brake or the clutch. This is where the body conserves energy. This is where it utilizes nutrients and transports chemicals to cells, and metabolism goes up. And this is a time for growth. This is a time for repair. This is a time for restoration. And there's a delicate balance between the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And so then when you're feeling constant fear, when you're feeling constant anger or aggression, when you're feeling constant pain and suffering, and you're living by the hormones of stress, what was once very adaptive is now very maladaptive, because if stress is knocking your body out of balance, and the stress response is what the body does to return it back to order. If we're living in constant fear, then we are tapping the body's vital resources, and there's no energy for growth, repair, restoration. There's no energy for long-term building projects. And our research shows that when you get a community of people together and they begin.
Oh, sorry. That's the next one. So I wanted to show you that. Let me go to, there's a reason I did that though. So he is really good. Like when Amy showed me, now what do you like listening to on it, Amy? Is it a lot? Because his meditations look fantastic.
Yeah, his meditations are well, what's the one? Because the one book he's got 3 books that I have that I've been reading, but Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is the one I'm reading, and it teaches you how to do the meditation, and it's a long process because you have to basically become nothing. And
Yeah.
it teaches you how to meditate or be in like a meditative state almost throughout the whole day so that you can remove any emotion from conversations that you're hearing or having with people. You know what I mean? Because most
Yeah.
people react to things that are being said to them or whatever. So it kind of keeps you in this state. So like that you're above all of that. And you can look at a conversation and just hear just the conversation. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's where, like as we go, I really put it's Joe Dispenza. I will put it in the little chat when we're running this video for the Facebook side. So I really, really like his stuff. I'm gonna be diving in pretty deep probably into that.
Yeah, he's got a lot of interviews like Jay Shetty, and there's a few other people that he has like hour and a half interviews with. And those I've listened to a ton of those. And those are really cool. I found those on YouTube.
Yeah. And what I want to do tonight is using those tools is awesome. If we start looking at understanding, and I'm not talking cardiologist understanding, I'm talking about let's learn about the human body. One of the things that we lack is the understanding of what like anatomy, physiology, these little pieces. And so I want to show you why. And so a couple of these videos are kind of designed for that. So I want you to watch this one. This one's called The Anatomy and the Function of the Heart, and then we'll discuss. So it's only a minute long.
Your heart is a muscular organ that pumps blood containing the oxygen and nutrients your body needs. The pumping sections of the heart are the right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, and left ventricle. In your heart, oxygen-poor blood flows from your body through large veins into your right atrium. Next, your blood moves into your right ventricle, which contracts, sending blood out of the heart to pick up oxygen from your lungs. Oxygen-rich blood moves out of your lungs into your left atrium, then moves into your left ventricle. Finally, your left ventricle contracts, sending oxygen-rich blood out of your heart to your body.
The liver is the largest internal.
Okay, we're gonna start right. So we're gonna stop a little bit, and there's a reason I'm doing this. So as we go, one of the things we do in our society, we're so inundated with information. What I want our 1% tribe to know what the function is. What does it look like? That was a basic 1-minute video that some huge college, like somebody very, very good with all that 3D animation, use the information as power. And so what you should do is walk through the human body in different things. You want to take something for the liver? Okay, that's fine, but you better know how it works, right? Because that will give you an empowerment like as you progress. Now, you don't have to be doctor level empowerment or any of those things. But each piece, each section that you start understanding, if you watch the way the heart pumps, isn't that amazing? Like how it's two different rhythms like all the time. It's got to be perfect to do that, right? So when you're talking heart health, learning about those things, see how important it is and synchronicities, right? So I can just look from the outside and look at the heart and go, okay, that has to have rhythm. That has to have rhythm, right? So you're looking at energies that could be there. Let's say really good music might be good for your heart, right? You can also do, herbals that are great for your heart. The idea is you can see it's all muscular, and if we can do it, we can get this universal intelligence. If we can get our matter correct for all the universal forces that are against us, so universal forces are the environment going at you, right? So the universal forces are like think of wind and you're blowing and like you can't get through and it's super windy and rainy. That's a universal force, and we're strong enough to get to our car no matter what. If we were made of jellyfish, we're not gonna we'd be or no muscle at all. Could we move very fast, right? Like think of like a gray alien. What happens when there's 70-mile-an-hour winds or something in those movies? You just get flown around, probably. I don't know. But the idea is that we're built a certain way, and that matter, the biggest key to all of it will always be understanding a little, like what your body's built like. So these are a couple of them. They're just a minute long. We'll go a couple more. I got a liver one, and I can't remember what the other one is. But the liver is fascinating because no one has a clue what it does, but it's really cool once you go, oh wow, it's your detox place. So I'll let it do it.
Organ in your body, and it has over 250 different functions. The liver produces bile, and bile is important because it breaks down fats into smaller droplets so it can be easily absorbed in the digestive tract. The liver processes nutrients. For instance, the liver converts glucose into glycogen. Glucose is the most common carbohydrate and a key source of energy for all cells in the body, and glycogen is a form of energy storage of glucose. Speaking of glucose, the liver regulates blood glucose levels, and high blood glucose levels can damage nerves and blood vessels or lead to type 2 diabetes. The liver is also the great detoxifier. For example, it detoxifies alcohol and converts some fat-soluble toxins into a water-soluble form, which can then be eliminated in urine. The liver also acts as a storage container, as it stores about 400 calories worth of energy in the form of glycogen. And it also stores iron, copper, vitamin B12, and all of the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. The liver synthesizes blood clotting proteins, blood plasma proteins, and transport proteins that carry fats and fat-soluble vitamins, just to name a few. It also produces several hormones and takes part in breaking down and eliminating excess hormones. The liver takes part in breaking down and recycling red blood cells. And I could go on and on and on, but I think you probably get the point that the liver has many important functions, thus making it an extremely important organ in your body. So take care of it.
Like he said, that was good. I like that. So take care of your liver because it just ran through about a bunch of stuff. There is to about 250 processes with the liver. So when we hammer it with different things, and guess what else gets hammered by it? It's crap that's not food, right? That's why I said alcohol. Alcohol gets converted. This is where you do it at. Over alcohol it, you're going to overwork your liver, right? So these are, and thinking this in terms of this helps a lot in your day-to-day choices of a lot of different things. So just remember that. I thought this would be kind of cool just to, let me do, I got one more. I'll skip that one. This one blows my mind every time. So it's a 3-minute eye anatomy.
The eye is an organ which gives you vision. thanks to its photoreceptors, which detect light. The eyes sit in the bony orbits, which deflect impacts and protect them. The eyes have anatomical layers, including the fibrous, vascular, and inner layers, and each of these layers has specialized structure and function. The cornea and sclera comprise the dense fibrous layer of the eyes. They're continuous with each other and give the eyeball shape and structure. The sclera provides an attachment site for your extraocular muscles. The extraocular muscles are found at the sides of the eyeball and implement all of your eye movements. When light passes through the cornea, its round shape bends the light's path, focusing it inside the eye. Under the fibrous layer is the eye's vascular layer, which has 3 components: the ciliary body, choroid, and iris. The choroid is a layer of blood vessels which supply the retina, which is found beneath the choroid. The iris controls the pupil, which acts like an aperture, shrinking and growing the pupils via smooth muscle fibers. The ciliary body has 2 parts, muscles and processes. The muscle attaches to the lens by the processes. The ciliary body also makes aqueous humor, and it is attached to the lens and can change its shape, resulting in a change in focal length. When light reaches the inner layer, it is detected to give you sight. The retinas are your eyeball's sensors, and photoreceptors are found within it. Each retina is composed of 2 layers. The neural layer is thicker and is used for detecting photons, while the thinner pigmented layer maintains the retina and absorbs stray light that might interfere with the image captured by the neural layer. In the front, the eye's inner layer is called non-visual, since only the pigmented layer is present, while in the back, the eye's inner layer is termed the retina's optic part, since it is here that one has both retina layers. At the retina's center is the macula, and at its center is the fovea centralis. The fovea has high photoreceptor density, providing the sharpest visual acuity. Near the fovea, you have your blind spot. Here, there are no photoreceptors, since this is where the optic disc sends signals backwards via the optic nerve. Behind the lens, we find transparent gel called the vitreous body, which fills space in the posterior chamber. A canal runs from the optic disc to the lens through this gel. It is a fetal remnant called the hyaloid canal. Remember that while the vitreous body is in the posterior chamber, the aqueous humor is in the anterior chamber. The lens is between the vitreous body and the pupil.
So I just wanted to throw you things we should watch. So if we got into watching, so I think that's it. I got one other one on Dr. Joe. I'll do that one because it's pretty good on the immune system. I really like how he described. We're good. I think we're good. I bored you enough with that. Hopefully it made sense. The idea, though, tonight was about understanding the role. If you're going to understand the universal intelligence and how it goes in, you have to start understanding what those universal forces are doing to your matter and what you can do about it. And so when you have that kind of setup, you make a lot of cool decisions based on that. And I see this a lot. And I'll give you an example of this subconscious program changing. And a lot of people that do chiropractic, do holistic things, already are on this pathway. So when we go to a chiropractic seminar, a lot of times we will see things of protecting you from little different technologies that protect you from EMF radiation, ozone to clear, ozone filters to clear your air. Oh shoot, like bright magnets to change the cell structures. There's so many different things that you can, you go into the thing that medical would consider outside of actually helping. But once you realize all of those things help. We just have to figure out what helps for you the most, right? And but a lot of it is based on one thing: is trying to keep allowing your matter to be as perfect as it can. If that matter is perfect in the situation you're in, then you're going to improve that matter, right, against the universal intelligence. How'd that go?
Good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a lot to digest, but it's good.
It is. And then as we do the 33 principles, they'll start easily going. Just remember, universal force is gravity, hits you. There's this, the reason it's there is because we have this, our whole planet with our whole community, with all of us connected, right? With this biofield, everything else we talk about a lot, we're all connected on here. There's a universal intelligence over all of that. The innate intelligence is the body's ability to pump the heart perfectly, right? We, in fact, we, in a way, don't really have control over the innate, okay? Because the innate, we do through our mind and everything else. We really have control over our consciousness, right? And the what we put our environment in. So our environment and our consciousness are really where we need to be. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
so hopefully that will make a little bit of sense as you go down this journey and how these little tiny changes, because a lot of times people think, oh, meditating, psh, that's kind of, you know, not that big a deal. It's huge. It's huge, people. Any kind of thing, kind of changing that consciousness. Reading a nutrition book. Uh, Actually, one of our people tonight, Julie sent me some cool stuff I'm going to be researching soon. Like that is what my hopes of the 1% tribe will get to, where we even have meet and greets where we can just bring stuff and then talk about it. And it's because there is so much out there that can help us go to that next level. That's why we all subconsciously know that, right? And we know organic is better than this, right? And so that's basically what we have tonight. All right.
Cool.
I
I like it.
know. So I'm gonna ask Julie if she's got anything. All right, Julie, fire away. Hopefully that made sense.
Good
Maybe.
evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, it does make sense, but I will admit I probably need to hear it at least 3, 4 more times before it really makes sense.
Yep.
Because I understand, but there's this, okay, example. I'm still digesting it. I agree with Amy. It's a lot and it's foreign. It's not something we readily
Right.
think about.
Yeah. You didn't spend 2 years in school learning this. Or 3 or 4. I can't remember how many times we got hammered with this subject, but once you do, it opens this world up to, like, in the chiropractic philosophy of looking at things in such a different perspective. You go into a restaurant, let's say, and you see all these things on the menu, and then one says like Wagyu beef, or what is the other one? Kobe beef, right? And you go, oh, maybe because it's so organic, the energy is going to be better. Then maybe you try that one. Or there's so many different variants. As we do these different principles, you will understand it much, much better as we go. So don't worry about it yet. We're only on principle 2 of 33. So we got a lot more. And they're built in the 1900s, which is kind of cool. So to try to like get our way of talking, I guess you'd say, from then is pretty awesome. So okay, cool. So tonight I know it was a little early, but I'm okay with that. It was beautiful today.
Yeah.
I gotta go check out some chickens. So
Yeah, I almost forgot about you. I'm outside all of a
I
sudden.
know.
Oh no! I run in and it's 1/4 and I'm like, oh well, I'm late, but I'm still there. So I missed the beginning. I'm
Hey,
guilty.
no worries. I know that's gonna start happening actually, so never worry about that. For those that miss, I'm gonna put that in my chat as well. Get on. Julie gets the emails. So if you get on www. Let me write it down. www. Dot tribe 1 dot substack dot com. It will get you onto our email list, and then if you miss one, then you can just sign up there, and it's pretty cool. We don't hit Do not send any kind of spammy stuff. I promise. But you even get, if you start a Substack account or whatever, it's free, and all these videos are there. So just remember that. So there's an app for it and everything else. And it's a place I can keep articles and all kinds of cool stuff. And now it sounds like Amy got me hooked to this Joe Dispenza. So I'm going to have more books to read. Fantastic. So it'll be awesome. All right, you two. Well, have a great night.